Hello, folks. Well, I have very little words, which is a shame, to come up with for the feeling I am currently experiencing here. This is such an impressive view we have right at the start of our adventure here today. I mean, we're surrounded by this theater of rocks and desert landscapes. I mean, there are rocks that look like they are just about to fall off down this cliff. And yet, these have probably been here for millions of years. We're currently walking by the entrance point of a place that I've been wanting to go for quite a while. And I'm sure for you all who are adventurers yourselves, this is probably a place you've not only heard of, but probably want to go to yourself. This is Arches National Park. Before we really get into the meat of this national park, I want to just take a moment and say that this is our first full day in the state of Utah, the Beehive State, our 35th state that we did debut back in Four Corners, but we didn't really get to see the real Utah. Today, we're going to make it count on our first true full day in this wonderful, beautiful state. And this nice desert stroll along Park Avenue is a great way to introduce ourselves. So, Utah is a state that people know about generally. It's a state that people have different opinions on, whether they're good or bad, but I think we can all agree that at least the nature here is something worth visiting. I would have loved to visit Utah a little bit earlier, but once again, I'm not going to complain about circumstances that I've yet to really go into. But finally, we are here in Utah. What do you all think of? What comes to mind with Utah? Maybe you might think of, well, the first pioneers, non-native pioneers who settled this land, the Mormons. And they have grown to become a big religion here in the West. They've also developed quite the dominant cultural influence in this state. So that might be the first thing you think of with Utah. Do you think of the Wild West country, like these beautiful canyons all around us? Do you think of the mountains right by Salt Lake City? Do you think about the Salt Lake? There are many natural wonders in Utah, such as, well, the national parks. There are 5 in Utah, and people make it a big deal to go to all 5 in Utah. There's something else, as we can see here. This is just one of them. Much like its neighboring state of Colorado, Utah is also known for its wide variety of outdoor activities, the splendor that awaits with such things as snowboarding, skiing, and even rafting. There are lots of rivers here that allow for that. Overall, Utah is a state that one can appreciate no matter who such a person is. Now, where in Utah are we? As you know, on the Coverage Project, each state has its assortment of regions, no matter how big or small a state might be. Well, the southeast portion of Utah is defined by its amazing desert landscapes, like the mesas and buttes and canyons we've seen so far in the southwest. Here is canyon country. A lot of those, if not all, of Utah's 5 national parks are located in this southeast canyon country region. But here in this national park, Arches, there is one distinct formation that defines this entire national park area. And those are, well, obviously, the arches. You can't really see that many arches in such a concentration outside of this national park. You can see plenty of canyons and buttes, mesas, desert hills and mountains all throughout the West, but it is here in Arches National Park that you can find the world's largest area full of them. And that's what we are here to enjoy, not just today, but tomorrow, here in Arches National Park. We've yet to see any arches, really, yet I'm just so stunned, mesmerized by the beauty, the sheer beauty of all these natural formations. You could see spires in the distance and up close. And we're in this sort of valley area. It's an interesting area because we're nestled in the heart of it all. On all of our surroundings, you can see such beauty. It's also hard for me not to notice just how out of shape I feel right now. Maybe it's just the heat. Even in late August, it gets real hot. And it's also very dry. It's a dry heat. That's what you'll get. That's a characteristic of the southwest temperatures. They're dry, but it really feels like we're in the middle of a convection oven. So make sure carry lots of water when you're on these hikes, because there's no water anywhere here. At the end of this park avenue, ideally, one would find something of noteworthiness. Hopefully we get there and we actually find that something. Well, I've been walking around for some distance and it doesn't seem like the trail would get windy on the map, but it has been getting windy in real life. And I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking, okay, what I'm trying to see is Courthouse Tower. And there's no sign that says where it is. At least I can't find it. So that's when you come up with a solution. Whenever you can't name something, you don't know the name to something, you can't find where what you're looking for is, you just make it up. You know, so that could very well be Courthouse Tower, I don't know. Looks like a tower, that little spire, actually quite a big spire, but you know, we'll just dub it here on the coverage project, Courthouse Tower. We could very well be wrong. It could be up there. That could be Courthouse Tower. That could be Courthouse Tower as well. Although that doesn't really look like a courthouse tower very much. I don't even know what a courthouse tower is supposed to look like. I don't think my hometown really has a big, grand courthouse. Whatever. We are here in Arches National Park. Don't you guys want to see some arches? That's what the park is named after. We should definitely do something like that today. So let's begin and see the real beauty that there is in Arches National Park. Here in Arches National Park, you can really be amazed at just the geologic wonder that there is. Take a look at this. This is called balanced rock. And as the name suggests, it's a rock that is balanced, perched up on that already narrow rock. Now, how does that even happen? How does tons and tons of earth compact in a rock like that stay balanced on an already narrow piece of rock? Well, the tail of this balanced rock is the same tail as any other rock or arch or geologic formation in this national park. Some 2,000 plus sandstone formations are in this area. Oh, here's a great view of all of those. Yeah, so all of that, the same story applies. So this general area is on top of a huge salt bed, which meant that millions and millions of years ago, this was all a very salty sea, maybe an ocean even. But salt beds are very unstable, and it just so happens that a lot of geologic activity occurred, a lot of weathering and erosion, and it turned this once massive area, all of this one big sandstone bed. It cracked it all apart, and so instead of one big flat area, these fins would develop. Fins like these. These things that stick out like a sore, well, I can't say thumb. A fin, a sore fin. And then even more erosion, weathering would occur. This maybe would get a hole in it, and it would turn into an arch. And that's how you get all these arches that we will see. But just wanted to stop by this. Such a weird oddity of nature. From this angle, from this distance, with the sun obscured, this balanced rock looks like a mushroom, a giant mushroom coming out of the earth, towering above us. Anyway, we gotta see some arches. Without further delay, let's get there. I think we're approaching our first few arches. This is going to be exciting. Look at all that there is to see here. There's thick arches, thin arches, arches that may have not even formed completely yet. Maybe the geologic timescale still has some work to do. This is incredible. And just looking at this cave system, I'm already impressed. But then in front of us, there is this. This is double arch. And yes, there are two arches right here. This is the highest arch in the park. One arch, two arch, double arch, everyone. Under one of the double arches, right in the center of it all, you really get a nice picture of the true magnitude. I think from afar, it's nice to look at it as it is these views, but you don't get a picture of the true size of it all, and therefore, right here, you find yourself having a deeper appreciation for the natural beauty that is in this park. Now, if this thing above me collapses, well, I'm a goner. But it's nice to sit up here. Nice cool breeze. Nice shade away from the sun. This is just one of the many arches in this window section. So let's get down and explore a couple more of these arches. So this is called the window section, not for nothing. This here is the northern window, which means there's a southern window, of course. That's how it is here at these national parks. So let me see. Does it feel like a window if we go up there? Yeah, almost seems like a window to the vast, empty desert. What an amazing view. Well, here, my friends, is the south window. It looks pretty similar, but I guess it's more to the south. Nothing much more to be said here. It's a beautiful view, though, like the north window, and pretty much everywhere here. You don't have to look far to find views that capture your imagination, fascination, and love for the outdoors. No secret to understand how enticing it is to come here to Arches National Park for a visit. For a long time, Americans viewed this area as just an empty place, not worth going, but various efforts were made to put this place on the map, so to speak, to get the public attention interested in arches. And finally, in the year 1929, President Herbert Hoover, yeah, that president. He didn't really do much to help us in the Great Depression, but he certainly did this. He made Arches National Park, well, not a national park then, he turned it into a national monument, finally giving it some spotlight in the American public. And in the year 1971, that's when Arches was finally turned into a national park. We have one more sight to see before we close the day off, and it's right in front of us. How cool is this? Welcome to Turret Arch, everyone. This is our final stop, and I wanted to bring you all to a place that really gives you a nice view of this window section. It's nice to be behind the arch so you don't have to deal with all the people, all the families with kids who are noisy. You know, the types where it's like, Billy, come over here, get up on the arch so we can take a picture. When you're on the road, sometimes you like a little bit of solitude. And of course, solitude goes great with a nice view. As much as we've seen so many arches of varying sizes, shapes, forms, textures, well, I think everything here is sandstone, but you get the point. We've seen so much, but yet there is so much more to unpack, and that's why we're spending another day here in Arches. So, same time, same place. Great. Felt like Dora the Explorer there, you know, waiting for an inevitable response that'll never hear in reality. But whatever, you get the point. We're going to be here tomorrow. Make sure to tune in because we are about to explore some great arches, great natural formations here on the Coverage Project. So with that being said, that is a large bug. That is not what I meant to say. That is insane. That is huge. Oh man, it's like, it's obese. It's thick. It's plump. Amazing the desert critters you'll find here in the Southwest. Anyway, getting back to the program for one last goodbye. Standing here in front of this great desert view at Arches National Park, awaiting further adventures here. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.